Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. So today's video, we are going to be talking all about this ring bullet journal that I kind of mentioned and went over a little bit in my last video. So how did we get here? Well, to give an explanation as to how we got here, I basically, for the second quarter of the year, I basically changed all my planners. You guys, most of you who follow me, you guys know I was using the Leuchtturm, the A6 Pocket weekly and daily. And I was also using my Hemlock and Oak, and I loved that planner combination a whole lot, but I did kind of feel like at some point the Hemlock and Oak became too big, and I found myself not having a whole lot of tasks to fill those daily pages. And then the Leuchtturm became too chunky, and I felt like it was just too big to like carry around, and I was looking for a change. Flash forward to where we are now. My current planners consist of the Sweet Freckled Designs Weekly Diary and the A6 Hobonichi Original, which also has a A6 Cafe Nanami notebook. So how do we get here? Well, to give context to that, so I was using this, and mind you, I'm pretty gentle with my planners. My planners usually don't show any real wear and tear. I'm pretty gentle with them. I don't baby them per se, but I'm not super rough with them. But nonetheless, when I first got my book, it didn't exactly open flat. Like, it didn't exactly lay flat. It kind of had that new book feel where you turn a page and it kind of poofs up like this. Well, I did mention in my last video that I've added a little stress to the spine, and I realized that saying that may have come across as I went through and technically broke the spine throughout the entire book, but I didn't actually do that. What I did initially when this didn't lay flat is I opened it up and I kind of just ran my fingers across like you would when you open a book to read that's fairly new and fairly thick. I just ran my fingers across just a little bit to kind of get the book to lay flat in that one spot that I was working in. Upon further, inspection, I've added things to my pockets. I have a notebook here. I had a notebook back here, but we'll talk about that. I've got sticky notes. So this has a little bit of weight now because there's a paper clip, there's a book, and then this page here has a little bit of weight because there is a bunch of sticky notes, and then I had like a page marker that I made. So just to sum it up, there were a lot of things going on in this, but I didn't realize that my book was coming apart here until I did my first video, and realized that, oh wow, my book's actually coming apart in that area. So to further explain where I am now, I really like this. I really like this Sweet Freckled Designs Weekly Diary. This little planner I've been using for, 5 weeks? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, so about 6 weeks now I've been using this planner and absolutely love it. Wouldn't change anything about it. I've also started using some of those back pages now for logging and rapid logging and lists and just mapping out stuff. So I've started to use some of those back pages, whereas before I wasn't really using them as much. They were just kind of there if I needed them and whatnot. But nonetheless, like I said, my book showed some signs of distress And it kind of scared me. I'm not gonna lie, it does scare me the more that I use the book, that, you know, this, which was solely right here at first, is now going up the spine. I don't know how well you can see it, but yeah, it kind of freaks me out that that is happening. So, in a desperate attempt to kind of keep up with my weeks, because like I mentioned, I can do without my dailies, but I absolutely positively need a week view, because it's where I do now in my current season of life. It's where I do the bulk of my planning. Like all my major tasks and reminders and events go here. All my like weekly lists, they all go here. So like if I didn't have a daily, I'd be perfectly fine with that. So in order to like keep up with this, I set up a bullet journal in Rings to kind of act as a backup plan in the event that this falls apart. Part of me is just like, well, let's just update both, because at least if the Rings doesn't stick, this will be up to date and I won't have to go back and pre-fill or backfill anything. So at the moment, currently to date, I'm using both. One is fairly new though. I absolutely love this. Like I said, I don't really want to use anything else. I am going to look into some options just in the event that this does come apart, to kind of fix it, because like I said, I really like this. And yeah, I mean, I really like this. Now, I heard Sterling Ink was coming out with, and see, that's the thing. I get scared with trying these new companies because I don't know how, you know, the book will react and things like that. But I heard Sterling Ink was coming out with an undated planner. So who knows? But current to date, I really like the Sweet Freckled Designs weekly diary. Like a lot. And last year I didn't really care for it, but this year I have a different feel for it. So again, this bums me out that my spine is doing this. And this may not be on every planner from her shop. I don't know, maybe I've done something to cause this. I don't know per se. I'm not putting the blame on anyone. I'm just disappointed that it's happening. So to move on from this, like I said, I'm still going to use my weekly diary. I don't think that I'll part ways with it because I really like it, and I like and now that I took that second book out, I really like the slimness of it now, like even more. But like I said, in a desperate attempt to fix that, I came up with a solution to purchase a cheap ring-bound system that I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and this is an Agenda 52 binder. And I forgot how fun it was to use these cheaper binders opposed to these more extravagant, more expensive leather binders. Like, these cheaper binders have fun colors, they have fun designs, and they can really just be decked out. So this is what I have. So this is the personal size or personal wide. The last time we talked, I said that I cut down two Stalogy or two B6 Stalogy notebooks, and I put them in here because I was like, I'm going to create a bullet journal and Rings, and Stalogy paper or the Stalogy notebooks are a lot cheaper than a Cafe Note notebooks, which I think would be great. And I'm not ruling the Cafe notebooks out, because again, I think they would be great in Rings. They're already great book bound, but I think they would be fabulous in Rings. But nonetheless, I could get an actual B6 size versus the B6 Slim, and I can get the books a lot cheaper than the Cafe Notes. So I chose to go with the Stalogy. And so what I did is, so I kind of walked you guys through like this in my last video. So I just took out some of the contents from my weeks, like the weekly diary, and I just moved them over. Um, so I have some stencils here. These stencils have trackers, numbers, icons, things like that, useful things. And then in this zip pocket folder, I have like some basic functional things like the dots, and I have an eye prescription thingy, and then I think that's it as far as what's in here. It's just like some color dots and like an eye prescription and some sticky notes, and then some more of these like what are these, bookmarks, because I use these a lot. And then you'll start realizing that some of the contents from the page marker that I had created for the weekly diary is now in here. So I created these pockets. I just cut down pockets. This one is actually an Agenda 52 pocket, which is made for their spiral planner, and I just cut it down and put it in here. But I have useful things in here. So of course the pictures aren't useful, but I do have like a ruler, which I use to cut washi tape, and some stamps and things like that, which are definitely useful. And then this book here, you guys know this one is my book log. This is what I'm doing all of my reading reviews, book lists, books that I'm reading. It all goes in this book. And I don't want to change that aspect of my planning because it's really working for me to just keep my book log and book details in one generalized location. So the book stays. And so, oh, and then in the back of this, so I took some of those aspects of things that I was creating for like my Leuchtturm, and I moved some of that stuff over because I realized that I just really like to have a reference of these things. And so what I have here is these are AM, PM, and evening routine cards that I just hand wrote and created off of index cards. And then I have a, so this one's AM, PM, and evening. And then I have a planning routine card, which my planning routine is so, when I look at some of these videos and I see like their planning routine, I'm like, you guys make planning so complicated. Like you really sit down and do all of this month by month, week by week. For the most part, my planning routine is so basic that I don't even need a routine, but it does help to like lay it out on paper so that way I'm not forgetting to check like my future log section, which I will admit that is probably one thing that I do forget to do a lot, which is check my future log page in all my planners, which usually 9 times out of 10 holds something important. So I will say that having like a planning routine card definitely helps in that regard. But as far as like the other stuff, I usually line my planners up or set them up in the way that I'll check them anyway. So it all works out. All right, so a bunch of tabs are going on here. So we've got monthly, we've got all of these month tabs here, then we've got weekly, and then we've got some monthly tabs again, and then we've just got tabs everywhere. So let's go through. I created a cover page for this. It was looking a little bare with just astrology paper, and then I had that sticker. I couldn't vibe with it, so I got rid of that. Went to Hobby Lobby and just got some like ink, like printed paper. And then I got some more textured gray paper because I just didn't care for the astrology cover paper that they had. So this one has like a little nice texture, and it's on the front and the back. So if I'm being honest, it's on the front and the back, so it looks like an actual book. This is a cheap planner, so the rings aren't the best, but we're making do, and it is working fabulous. So let's go ahead and jump in. So I set this up, if you guys are familiar with my B6 Slim Cafe Notes bullet journal from last year, this is the same exact layout. So what I have is this section here is my future log. So future log page goes to 2025. I think it's all of 2025. Yeah, so it goes from May of 2024 to December of 2025. And this is just so that I added the second year just so in the event as I get closer towards, that's the only thing about this thin paper is it does get caught. But yeah, I added 2025 so that if things do come up at the end of 2024, I have an option to basically start pre-filling some of those things so that when I do go ahead to transfer over into a new planner, those things are written out for me and I can just move the information over. Again, I don't even know if this will stick, but I've set it up with the intents that it will, which will help me in the event that I do stick with this. Okay. And then also, just to know, I'm not getting rid of my Hobonichi. I'm not getting rid of my Sweet Freckle Designs Weekly. I'm basically in a era of trial and error for my planner. Or my planning season. I'm trying out different things. I'm testing rings back out again. You guys know I used rings for a while and then I got away from rings, and I've been in bound books for a chunk of last year and this year. So I'm doing a trial run with different things, trying to plan different ways now to better suit my needs. As you know, we're a military family. My husband's Air Force, and there are so many changes happening in our life. You know, he's been promoted, he's transferring into a different position now, and so there's just a lot of different changes in our life. So I feel like my planners are kind of shifting with that. If you hear my family, I do apologize. Like I mentioned in my last video, my husband came back last month, and so sorry guys, I was listening to that. But like I said, my husband came back last month or so, and so my family has just been enjoying the time that he's here, since we are getting ready to leave again this weekend. So there's that. But like I said, this is set up exactly, I'm gonna try to, this is set up exactly like the B6 Cafe Notes book that I shared last year. Only difference is this is stology paper and it's in rings. So again, I use my handy dandy stencil. A lot of you ask me all the time where I get these, or where did I get this stencil from. I got it from Amazon. To be honest with you, all I did was type in bullet journal stencils, and a wide range of different ones pops up. Literally just type in bullet journal stencils and you will find a plethora of them, and they're fairly cheap. They're not expensive at all, and you get a bunch of them in a pack. So highly suggest doing that if you're looking into like a easy monthly stencil for your bullet journals. This makes life very easy, because I couldn't imagine sitting here filling out this page, you know, drawing it out like that. Couldn't imagine it. So yeah, I have all the months. I just have the months for 2024. So I have May through December, and I did go ahead and washi border the tops and put down monthly stickers, but I didn't date all of them. I only dated the first 2 months because I'm going to give myself the first 2 months to really test out, you know, how I like this in rings first. And then if I don't decide to stick with it for the 2 months, at least I'll still have the pages that are not dated, and then I can jump back into it. So that works. The next tab I have is labeled weekly, and basically this is the Sweet Freckle Designs or Hobonichi weekly. It's the exact same layout, and I did this because first of all, I wanted to see first of all, I wanted to see like the spacing too. I know that Hannah has a B6 version as well, and so I really like the weeks though because it's very compact in that regard. But I know she has the B6 version too, so I just wanted to try it out because that was one that I was considering getting before I got the weeks. But the weekly spread in the rings is this. It's basically this. The only difference is there's some tracker differences, but not much of a difference in that regard. Like, as you can see, everything is still pretty much the same, weather, tracking, all of that. The only thing that I don't like about the Hobonichi, or I'm sorry, the Astrology, is that the grid spacing is a little bit bigger. I wish it was a little bit smaller. I considered buying more of that plotter paper. I did buy that for a journal that I was using for my son, which I don't typically share my journals or anything, but I did buy the plotter paper last year for a journal that I was using, and really love the paper per se, but I don't have any of that stuff with me. It's all packed up in another state. So yeah, I considered that, but I didn't have enough time to actually wait for that stuff to ship. So I just went with Amazon and got the Stologies, but I don't like the grid spacing. I think it's just too big. Now that I'm like using it and I'm like testing it out, I just think the grid spacing is a tad too big for my liking. I really like that teeny tiny grid, but it's working nonetheless. And so, like I said, I just have this week in there because it's fairly new. All the weeks basically look the same. This is what one without this line down the middle looks like. It just looks all the same. And I have I have May through to December, and it's all tabbed out. Then the last tab that I have is basically labeled notes or odds and ends. It's the same tab that I have here, which is, this one just says notes, this one says odds and ends, but it's basically the same thing. And basically what I'm going to do is transfer all of my notes, my book logging, all of that stuff. It's all going to go into this back section here, and whether or not I want to do dailies, if I want to do dailies or extended dailies or extended notes, it'll go back here. There's a crap ton of paper, so I'm not scared of using these back pages for whatever, because there's so much flipping paper. And not only that, I can always buy another Stology, cut it down, and do this again. So I'm not really worried in that regard at all about running out of paper. But this is what I have thus far for my Ringbound bullet journal. This is the layout. This is what I have. Now, what I want to do is I want to introduce to you an option or an idea that I was toying around with prior to trying to figure out whether or not I wanted to do this bullet journal in the Agenda 52. So okay, maybe I should open it up and bring it out. So I was looking into a better binder, but nothing that would break the bank, because I'm not in the business for breaking the bank anymore. I am now shuffling through experiments of my planning to get it consistent and more so affordable for me, because I've realized I've spent a lot of money and I went down that rabbit hole, which I am desperately trying to get out of. But I picked up this Filofax botanical planner, and I really liked the Filofax botanical planner a lot. I was thinking to myself, like, oh, this would be such a great little bullet journal. So I threw away all the pages that it originally comes with, because I didn't really care for those, and I don't know, I just didn't really care for those. So I feel like if I do, I'm trying out Filofax as an option for next year too. So if I do go back into rings, Filofax is like the top of my list in terms of like just buying a bunch of inserts, getting a nice binder, and using all Filofax inserts. It's a very big possibility for me because although I like bookbound, I do like being able to add things without always having to use double-sided tape or washi, or whenever I want to remove things. It's just so much easier. And I love disc for the fact of portability, not portability, flexibility, but I didn't like the fact that my pages were always ripping or falling apart at the holes. So I'm not there. But so I was toying around with this. I had bought, you guys have seen these inserts before, but you can find them on Amazon. So I bought this like planning pack of, it was like a complete planning pack between like monthlies, weeklies, dailies, blank line, to-dos, financial, a whole pack full of them. And so I had broken down like basic planner format. I broke down like some of the stuff and decided to put it in here. And I was considering using this instead of the Stology because this was already laid out for me. However, there are not 52 weeks. Not that that makes a difference, but if I wanted to use this and continue using this into the next year, I'd have to buy another pack of weeklies to continue doing so. So I put this in here because, like I said, I wanted to really try out or just see, like, could I do this with Filofax inserts? It's very appealing. I just have the monthly, weekly, daily, and then the to-dos and notes in here. And the rings are very small. The rings are smaller than the Agenda 52 planner. They're very, very tiny. So that could be a good thing or a bad thing. But the best thing is it turns so much better, minus the fact this zipper pouch doesn't turn as well, but everything else turns really well on these rings. So what I did is, because I was like, well, I don't know if I want to use these inserts, I went ahead and I picked up some stuff from Amazon. I got this pack of paper here. I was like, well, I could use lined and I could turn it into a journal, or I could use it as a basic notebook, or I've got this blank paper here. There's 100 sheets in each pack. I could use one pack and set it up as a bullet journal and just draw out everything. And when that pack is done, I can put the next set of inserts in and do the same thing. So there are options. And so I was testing out this theory on some of that paper that came in the planning pack by drawing out, well, basically I was using my stencil and I was drawing out what this monthly would look like on this, just to see if I could actually get away with doing that. And so yeah, the holes cut into like the boxes, but I think it's doable. It definitely, this to me looks better than the monthly in this like planning pack. I don't too much care for this, but it can definitely work. So options, big options. I don't know. I'm gonna leave this as is for now and revisit it at a later date just to see. But I like how clean it looks, how simple it looks. I like how flexible this binder is. I even like how small the rings are, and that the rings aren't like ginormous. I do. I really appreciate the fact that this is so slim and not like super thick. I really appreciate that. So this is an option that I'm considering. I might even get another Filofax, or who knows. I'm considering trying out Filofax again for next year as a cheaper alternative to my planning, because Lord knows I've spent a crap ton of money that I just don't care to do again and again and again. And I'm trying to outsource my my planning. I'm trying to use more affordable options, go more into an affordable route with planning. I really like bullet journaling, but I need flexibility with bullet journaling. So that's why I'm considering a bullet journal within rings. I don't necessarily like drawing out things like the monthlies and the weeklies. So there is a shop that I do know for certain I can get monthly inserts and weekly inserts from. So I might do that. I kind of talked about that in past years about inserts that I use to create bullet journal. But nonetheless, that is my planning, you guys. This is so tight because I like, once I put like that zipper pouch in there, it got really tight. This is really not a whole lot in there, but nonetheless, that is my planning, guys. I hope you got some inspiration from it. I hope that you enjoyed it nonetheless. Also, like I said, I will keep you guys updated. I'm trying to pump out videos, but I'm just in such a different phase in time where I don't really have time for YouTube as much as I used to. And we're getting ready to move again this weekend. We're going to be driving for another 14 plus hours to another place for 6 months. And life has just been go, 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 go. So I do appreciate all of you who do watch and comment and give feedback and all of that stuff. It's very much so appreciated. And yeah, I thank you all so much for watching. I welcome all of my new subscribers, and I thank all of my new or returning subscribers for returning and coming back. And yes, you guys, love ya. I'll see you all in my next planning related video. Bye, loves.